Welcome to the best of high school sports in Northern California. We are MaxPreps Sacramento, powered by SMUD, and this is our look back at the year 2015. Welcome back for another edition of MaxPreps Sacramento, powered by SMUD. I'm your host, Mike Finnerty, and in this week's show, we're going to look back at the 2015 year. That's the winter and spring of last school year, and then the fall of this school year. And what a year it was when we talk about 2015. Many big moments to recap, and we'll do that. Also, later in the show, in our Placer Title Company Insiders, we'll announce our coach and athletes of the year. So our overall athlete, our overall coaches in both boys and girls sports. We'll have our Sushi trivia question as always, but we're going to look back and we're going to start it off with the spring sports season. And if you look back at that season, so much to talk about. We're going to start off with baseball. And how about the Elk Grove Thundering Herd? Once again, they capture another Division I section championship. Their second in the last 3 years. They just continue to rack up championships overall, led by head coach Jeff Carlson, their longtime coach. And what was cool about this story this last year was Dylan Carlson, his then junior son, now senior, they get to win a championship together once again. So many guys that you can credit for that run for them. Nick and Ty Madrigal, Chris Martin, Brooks Day, so many to remember. A senior-heavy team and just a really, really good team. So expectations were set high at the beginning of the season. They fulfill them, and they get it done. But they're not the only team to win a section championship. In Division II, the Roseville Tigers get their first championship since 2011. Kind of out of nowhere. I don't think anyone at the beginning of the year had them to be championship contenders. They get it done. Impressive performance for them. Yuba City, the Honkers, they are very well known to championships. They get another one, that in Division III. Lincoln, Division IV, and perhaps another surprise some people, not really to us. They were in the championship the year before, fell short. This year they get it done, led by Isaiah Garcia, his brother Eli, and just a cast of talented players on that team. And then Bradshaw Christians, Division VI, they too win another championship, led by Grant Dragmar. So a great year in baseball locally. Many of the teams that you thought were going to win had great years, but highlights to the teams that highlighted by the teams you don't expect to win, like a Lincoln and a Roseville. It's always good to see some new blood in there. Let's talk about top performances in baseball. So many to go around, but you'd have to look at our B Player of the Years last year, Nick and Ty Madrigal, the terrific brother tandem for them. Ty Madrigal would pitch a little, as we know. Nick was the terrific shortstop. One of the best brother duos we've ever seen around here. Just good guys, and they were Players of the Year last year. And then we're going to switch over to softball now. Similar story. Sheldon Huskies get another championship to add to their collection, led by head coach Mary Jo Truesdale. And again, another collective team. Something else they had in common with the Elk Grove baseball team, they also had a sister combo on that team, Macy and Jordan Fines, outstanding infielders for them. Jordan Fines, she'll head off to Cal next year. Great pitching performance by Gabby Monte in that title game. Congratulations to her. It's just so many people to name. Jessica Scott, their catcher. Sarah Brown, the big hitter, first baseman. And then you had some surprises. I think our B team of the year last year was the Elk Grove Thundering Herd almost the whole way through. Morgan Lamb was our MVP for the season. Just an unbelievable talent there. She heads off to Boise State. They fall in the championship game. Pioneer also falls in the championship game. So some heavies came up short, but in the end, it was Sheldon, the only local team to capture a section championship. So a great spring there. Let's keep it going. How about in soccer, girls soccer, Franklin Soccer? Wow, what a team they had, led by Lauren Williams. They had Leah Kelly. In the goal was Jennifer Padilla and Alicio. Gotta love Alicio Lopez, their head coach. Just a fiery coach, players coach. Girls all like him a lot. Franklin gets another championship. They're second in 3 years. And what a program they've got going over there. Other champions included Division II was Del Oro, another run for them. Division IV, Woodland. You had Division VI, Capital Christian, and in Division VII, another Woodland team. You had Woodland Christian. Continuing on with sports spring highlights. Golf, Granite Bay makes it back-to-back Masters championships there, the premier program right now, and they're probably a favorite to do it again. We will talk in our next show about our 2016 favorites, what to expect, maybe some predictions as well. So we'll have that show coming up. Other highlights from the spring, you've got, again, Granite Bay. You're always talking about Granite Bay when it comes to sports. They were the premier team in lacrosse once again. The Grizzlies just dominating everything. Really good team in the spring. Tennis, yeah, Davis capturing the Division I section championship. Rio Americano doing the same in Division II. And then you had track and field, and we're going to talk about this girl a little later on. But what stands out to me the most is track and field masters out of Elk Grove last year, and Fiona O'Keefe of Davis just lapping the field, I think, over and over again. Again, we'll talk about her, but a great Masters championship memory from last spring. I believe that was in May. So that's kind of your overall look at the springtime. Again, highlighted by the Elk Grove Championship, Sheldon Championship, a lot of repeat performers, a lot of new teams to win championships, as we had mentioned. So stick around. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about the winter, some basketball teams and the big performances they had. And then later on the show, again, we'll announce our coaches and athletes of the year.
This is your RAM Auto Update.
Just in, the classic term used car is old-fashioned, outdated, and no longer of any particular relevance. Let's party. The Roseville Auto Mall is throwing a massive factory-certified pre-owned sales event. That means incredible savings on just about every kind of car in the world. All factory certified. It's happening now. It's going fast. In layman terms, skedaddle. The Roseville Auto Mall, driven to be the best.
Welcome back. We are MaxPreps Sacramento, powered by SMUD, the Sacramento Municipal Utilities District. All right, in our opening segment, we talked about some of the highlights of 2015 for springtime. That's Elk Grove baseball, and in that sport, you had Sheldon in softball, Franklin in girls soccer, many things to talk about, but we are now going to talk about the winter time. When you talk winter, you talk basketball and wrestling, and we're going to start it off with basketball. We're going to start it off with the girls, and the only team to win a state championship was the McClatchy Lions. What a year that was for them. I think everyone expected them to be title contenders, and sure enough they were. They not only were contenders, but they captured the Division I state championship. What a year for Gigi Garcia and company, and then head coach Jessica Kunasaki. They lived up to expectations. They knew if they could win the Metro League title, pass up Sacramento, they would have their chance, and they were just the dominant team. What a year for the McClatchy Lions. Let's keep it going. More girls basketball. How about small school championships for Capital Christian, led by head coach Suzanne Baker? They get their first championship. And then in Division 4, you had Bradshaw Christian. They repeat, and not only do they repeat, they get their 7th section title. Great year for them. Player of the year, as we mentioned, was Gigi Garcia. Other highlights in girls basketball, you had Valley Christian. They make it back-to-back championships in Division 6, led by their star Lily Haggerty, and of course, longtime head coach Kim Contreras. VCA looking good, a young team. Expect them to be in the running once again. Our surprise team of the year was the Rio Linda Knights, led by longtime head coach Jerry Huffines. They come up short in the Division III championship, but an impressive team. And then our surprise player, we talked about her a lot recently. We're going to talk about her during the season, but Mackenzie Forbes of Folsom, just a standout freshman season for her, and we expect her to do big things again. So girls basketball, your highlights. It all starts with championships, and the only team to win a state championship, as we'd mentioned, the McClatchy Lions, and your player of the year, Gigi Garcia. All right, we're going to talk about the boys now, and Folsom. It starts with Folsom, doesn't it? Well, they get another championship to add their collection, led by Jordan Ford, player of the year, once again. They get it done. They didn't get the state championship. Last year they had made it to the NorCal final and came up short there. They couldn't get the state championship, but they had a great year nonetheless. Other teams to come up big, obviously, was Capital Christian, another Division IV section championship. They fall short in the state finals, but they get their 4th overall section championship. A great year. Another team to fall short, but had a great year, Sakai Dragons. And overall, I would have to say another great year in hoops, and we expect to see a lot of those same teams contending once again. Surprise team. I don't have a surprise team per se, but I do have a surprise player, and he's no longer a surprise. Jordan Brown of Wood Creek, the big 6 foot, I think he's 7 now, who knows. He was a freshman last year. He's a sophomore this year. As soon as he came out, played in the first week, everyone knew who he was, probably the best player in the area right now, and he'll be one of the most heavily recruited players this area has ever seen. So that's sort of a basketball wrap-up. I think it's highlighted by Folsom's accomplishments, of course, and led by Player of the Year Jordan Ford. And then again, Capital Christian have another great year themselves. Let's talk about some wrestling. And you had your Masters champions, you had your state champions. We're going to back up and start with our section champions, our Masters champs. And we had a few locals get things done there. How about Jake Minshew in the heavyweight division for Casa Roble? Cool story for him. That's a 285-pound division. Last year, he came up short in the championship. Some controversy there. This year, he gets it done, captures the championship. He fell short last year to Dominic Ballmer. This year, he beat them. So he gets that win finally. You had Landon McBride of Del Oro capturing a Masters championship in the 113-pound division. Dixon's Devin Turner, 120-pound division. Oak Ridge's Brandon Claiborne in the 145-pound division. He is a section champ. Folsom, a couple championships. You got Lorenzo De La Riva in the 160-pound division, and then Jared Nooner doing the same in the 220-pound division. Folsom Bulldogs doing well once again at the meet. But your state champion, your only state champion last year was Zach Velasquez out of Ponderosa. He gets it done in the 152-pound division. So that is your winter recap. Again, probably highlighted by the McClatchy Girls State Championship. And certainly for wrestling, it was Zach Velasquez out of Ponderosa. So we are midway through the show. Coming up next, we're going to preview, or we're going to look back, I should say, at the fall sports season highlighted by football. And then our final segment will bring you our Mikuni Sushi trivia question. We'll bring you our Placer Title Company insiders. We'll announce our coaches and players of the year. Stick around.
Thinking about whether a solar power system is a good fit for your home or not?
Here, try this instead.
SMUD can help. If you've got questions, SMUD's got answers. Check with SMUD before signing a contract. Visit smud.org/solaranswers.
Welcome back. We are MaxPreps Sacramento, powered by SMUD, the Sacramento Municipal Utilities District. We're halfway through the show, but if you missed our first 2 segments, we are doing a look back at the year 2015. In the first segment, we covered the spring. In the second segment, we covered the winter. It is now time to look back at this past fall for football, boys soccer, girls volleyball, you name it. And I think if you're going to look back at the highlight of this past fall, it's got to start with football, and it's got to start with the Del Oro Golden Eagles. We've talked about them at length over the last several shows. We'll do it one more time. The Golden Eagles, they go to 2-6 through 8 games during the regular season, and guess what? They rattle off 8 straight wins to capture a Division II AA state championship at Sacramento State with their 16-13 win over Camarillo of Southern California. It is head coach Casey Taylor's first state championship. He's had a series of section championships. Interesting note there, as we mentioned before, Del Oro now 5-0 at Sacramento State in state championships. So your big highlight there is Del Oro capturing a state championship. Another highlight in football certainly was Folsom, probably the best team in this area until they fell in the NorCal championship, and another great year for them. They end up three-peating, I should say, as section champs. Head coach Chris Richardson and Troy Taylor get it done once again. Another new quarterback. This time it was Jake Jeffrey. We all know the superstar that he turned out to be. And they don't quite get that back-to-back state championship, but a great year for them nonetheless. If we're going to talk about football, we're going to talk about the performance of the year, the player of the year, and he is going to get our player of the year, and that is Ryan Robards. He is our MaxPreps Sacramento player of the year. Ryan Robards, again, we've talked about him at length in the last several shows. The running back, defensive back, kicker, special teams guy, you name it, he does it. He was just a monster performer all year long, led the area in rushing yards, touchdowns, and of course the team was a winning team as well. They don't get it done in the playoffs as they had hoped, but Ryan Robards is going to be our MaxPreps Sacramento Player of the Year. And as for our Coach of the Year, I don't think it's any surprise in football, but it's going to be Casey Taylor, head coach for Del Oro. If you're going to win a state championship, you're usually going to have the edge. But they not only win the championship again, they start off 2-6. I think that took an outstanding coaching performance to get that done. I had the chance to see them in the midst of that losing streak when they fell big time, 28-3 to Rockland. They just didn't look like the team they ended up being. You have to credit Casey and his staff for getting it done. So Casey Taylor is going to be our MaxPreps Sacramento Coach of the Year in football. So congratulations, Ryan Robards and Casey Taylor. Other highlights from football, you got to talk about East Nicholas getting a state championship, or how about Bradshaw Christian making it to a state championship. Other highlights include the performance of Elk Grove, the strength of the Sierra Foothill League. Rockland had a great year. Just so many great teams as always. Football is really strong in this area right now. The Northern California region has proven it the last several years in the state championships, and I would consider it another success. All right, let's move on to volleyball now. We're going to talk about some highlights from this season, and you got to mention the Granite Bay Grizzlies. Didn't win a league title, but they get the Division II section championship with a win over Rockland. Very impressive. For Pleasant Grove, they come up short again to Pittman in the Division I championship, but another great year for them. And as we mentioned last week, our Player of the Year was Rockland's Maddie Haynes. She is headed off to Cal. So a good year for volleyball as always. The Sierra Foothill League was certainly the strength of the area. Again, led by Oak Ridge, which is perhaps the best team in the area, followed by Granite Bay and Rockland somewhere in that mix. Top to bottom, just a brutal division. Other highlights from the fall, you got to look at soccer. How about Jesuit? And longtime head coach Paul Rose getting a championship to add to his collection. That's number 11. He's been there since 1979, and he had an outstanding season for them. A team that was hungry after not winning a championship for a few years. They beat Oak Ridge, as we all know. Oak Ridge knocked them out of the semifinals the year before. Oak Ridge ended up winning. This year, it's Jesuit getting back in the winner's circle. Other champions in soccer highlighted by Galt's win over crosstown rival Liberty Ranch. Yet Cosumnes Oaks win their second section championship in 3 years. So some impressive performances from the fall. But again, when you talk about overall performances, the highlight for me for the fall was certainly Del Oro's state championship win, something we didn't see coming after that 8-game start. And then Ryan Robards, your Player of the Year as well. So that is your fall look back. We're going to wrap this show up with one more segment where we're going to announce our coaches and Players of the Year. Don't go away.
This is your RAM Auto Update.
Just in, the classic term used car is old-fashioned, outdated, and no longer of any particular relevance. Let's party. The Roseville Auto Mall is throwing a massive factory-certified pre-owned sales event. That means incredible savings on just about every kind of car in the world. All factory certified. It's happening now. It's going fast. In layman terms, skedaddle. The Roseville Auto Mall, driven to be the best.
Thinking about whether a solar power system is a good fit for your home or not?
Here, try this instead.
SMUD can help. If you've got questions, SMUD's got answers. Check with SMUD before signing a contract. Visit smud.org/solaranswers.
Welcome back. We are MaxPreps Sacramento, powered by SMUD, bringing you our final segment of 2015. And in this segment, we're going to bring our Mikuni Sushi trivia question, and we'll bring our Placer Title Company Insiders, where we announce our coaches and athletes of the year. We're going to get started with our Mikuni trivia question. So here you go. As you'd heard, McClatchy had won a girls Division I state championship this past winter. Impressive performance by them. Of course, they beat Sarah of Gardenia. But can you name the last high school in our area to win a Division I state championship? We'll give you that answer at the end of the show. All right, it's now time for our Placer Title Company Insiders. Placer Title Company, your title and escrow company in Northern California since the 1970s. we are going to announce our coaches and athletes of the year. We're going to bring you a male and female athlete of the year, and then a coach of the year in both boys athletics and girls athletics. So let's get it started. Let's do our coach of the year in girls athletics. And I don't think it's any surprise here. It's going to be McClatchy basketball coach Jessica Kunisaki. Well, I'll tell you what, yeah, she had a talented team, but when you capture a Division I state championship like the Lions did, you got to point to coaching. And very good moment here, as you see, she is hugging her mentor, Harvey Tahara. She played for Mr. Tahara. The McClatchy Court is named after him. So the McClatchy Lions, under the leadership of Jessica Kunisaki, in just her third year, get a state championship. So she is going to be our MaxPreps Sacramento Coach of the Year in girls athletics. All right, we continue to talk about this guy a lot in the show, but how can you not? And how can you not talk about him in recent shows? Our Coach of the Year in boys athletics is going to go to Casey Taylor. And again, we've talked about it over and over again, but we're going to do it one more time. Team, talented team. They start off 2-6. They rattle off 8 straight wins, capture the Division II AA state championship at Sacramento State with a 16-13 win over Camarillo of Southern California. Casey's done a lot of great things, won a lot of section championships, but it was the state championship that he really wanted after coming up short twice before. That's his third state championship appearance since 2011. This time they get over the hurdle, and I point to coaching and, of course, talent, but I really point to coaching for that team around. And you got to give credit to head coach Casey Taylor. So he is our MaxPreps Sacramento, powered by SMUD, Coach of the Year in boys athletics. All right, let's talk about our girls athlete of the year. So many to choose from. In the past, what we have done is we've taken a multi-sport athlete. This time, we're just going to take an athlete that's really made their mark. And we're going to go to cross country and track. And we're going to talk about Davis's standout athlete, Fiona O'Keefe. And what has she not done in track and cross country? She's a state champion in both. And then I think the moment we had talked about, and we talked about this a little bit earlier in the show, is her in the 3200 setting a record that was second best in the country, best in masters for this area, a 10.85 in the 3200, as she just lapped her way around the field. What a scene that was. She is heading off to Stanford. She's a 4.0 student, so you can't knock her for grades, that's for sure. Just an all-around athlete, talented person. So Fiona O'Keefe of Davis High School is going to be our athlete of the year for girls athletics. And then we're going to wrap it up with our boys athlete of the year. And this is going to be for our show, of course. He's been a two-time Sacramento Bee Player of the Year. He last year averaged 20 points a game, 3.3 assists. He's just a clutch guard for the Folsom Bulldogs, and he is Jordan Ford. Once this guy came onto the scene, Folsom took off, and he is going to St. Mary's next year, so we know he's going to play at the next level. Jordan Ford did it all. Great leader, talented kid, good student. He will be heading off to, as I said, St. Mary's next year. He has really done it all other than win a state championship, so we'll see if they can get that done in 2016. So Jordan Ford is our MaxPreps Sacramento, powered by SMUD, Athlete of the Year in boys athletics. All right, it is now time for our Mikuni Sushi Trivia Question Answer, and here you go. We had mentioned at the beginning of this segment, the McClatchy Lions captured Division I state championship in girls basketball. So can you name the last team to capture a girls Division I state championship? Here's a hint. It wasn't too long ago, and the team was quite dominant. Well, the answer to that is the Oak Ridge Trojans back in 2010 get a surprising win over Long Beach Poly. I don't think anyone thought that they were going to win. They get it done, and what a team they had then. So 5 years ago, it was the Oak Ridge Trojans getting it done with a state championship. That's going to put a wrap on this show. What a 2015 it was. We can't wait for 2016. Our next show, we're going to look ahead at 2016. We're going to give you some predictions, kind of tell you what you might be able to expect in both the winter, spring, and fall. Folks, thank you for a great year, and we'll see you next year.